right on top. It's about concerns with electric mobility. A Mercedes Benz EV has caught fire. This happened on the 1st of August and it happened in South Korea, in the city of Incheon. Today, the country's top ministers have held a review meeting because this incident has sparked safety concerns amidst owners of electric vehicles. So, yes, this would be a worldwide subject. It's the kind of news stories that we've tackled in the past as well when it came to our electric vehicles. My colleague Sumit Chaturvedi is here to put this all in context for us. He's joining us from Delhi. Sumit, do tell us about the meeting that has taken place of the key officials of the South Korean government, and this after this Mercedes caught fire.
The South Korean officials met today in Seoul. Well, the meeting comes in the backdrop of an EV catching fire on August 1st. It was a big incident in which one EV of Mercedes Benz caught fire. It led to bigger fire that resulted in about 100 vehicles, other vehicles burning as well. And this prompted authorities to come together, and that happened today. They are discussing now the automakers to come and talk about more safety measures, also disclose the battery brands used by them. Well, tomorrow the automakers will be called by all these government officials. Automakers include Mercedes-Benz, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, all of them will be called. Well, the fires are serious in nature because EV burns different from what an ICE or internal combustion engine will burn. EV burns it lasts long, the fire lasts long, and the batteries involved. That's why there are recurrence of fires as well. In this particular case, on August 1st, and Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle caught fire, led to bigger catching of fires by different vehicles, and that's what prompted authorities to come with these new norms can be announced as well. But this kind of vehicle fire has caused a lot of uncomfort among the officials, among the government, and that's why the automakers have been called tomorrow. New rules can be announced, and they could be told to disclose the batteries that are used in electric vehicles.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of new norms are introduced, Sumit. Let's discuss this. What kind of concerns it raises for the present, the future of EV mobility across the world and in India. Let's discuss this with the editor of Autocar India. Hormazd Sorabjee is with us on the show tonight. Welcome to Business at 9, Hormazd. Hormazd, it was reported that the Mercedes Benz EV caught fire spontaneously. It took about 8 hours to douse that fire. The question is, do EVs now present any special challenges should they catch fire?
Yeah, I think, EV fires are very different kind of fires. They clearly, there's something called a thermal runaway. So when they catch fire, it's very, very difficult to put them out. It's because it creates a trigger reaction. So, one cell then combusts or ignites the other cell, and there's a chain reaction within the battery cells. So that is very difficult to put out, these lithium fires. So clearly, it's not like a normal fire, but so there are challenges when the vehicles catch fire. But they're getting far and few between as let's say people get more experience with EVs. There are better battery design. There's better battery management systems. There's better crash protection. All that sort of thing. So battery fires are getting less common actually.
But the concern is, and clearly South Korea definitely feels this, that it is something that they need to tackle. So how will they tackle it? Are better battery safety parameters required, Hormazd? Can we hope to see safety rating systems like global NCAP for EV batteries? Is that likely?
I think there are basically regulatory standards. So there's nothing like you can't rate them. They all have to meet a very stringent, let's say, safety standard. So I think basically, I think what can be done to reduce fires, there's more R&D being done. There's stricter quality control. Then there are regulatory standards. So there are tougher global standards for battery, safety and the crash worthiness. There are different ways of thermal management. There are more effective cooling systems. So I think there are several things that are being done, so even there's better battery design as well. So I think the standards are already there. Like, for example, in India, they are the toughest standards, very, very tough standards. In fact, those standards have actually delayed the launch of some vehicles because there's so many parameters where every cell has to be tested. So I think it's more to do with having more stringent let's say test standards for batteries that will reduce the fires.
So even as we wait for more stringent standards to come in, Hormazd, the kind of incidents that do get reported, like the one that we are talking about, the the sole incident, how likely is it to affect consumer confidence in EVs? Will it lead to larger debates on the charging infrastructure when it comes to safety in housing societies where you set these up?
But it definitely does. I mean, this gives a real scare to, let's say consumers, because clearly, the kind of fires that can happen are very difficult to put out. And, they really lead to a kind of, it's not a normal IC engine car catching fire, which you can put out, but this thing really spreads. It kind of, really goes to a different scale altogether, the fire. So definitely does cause an issue with, let's dense consumer confidence. But I think, as I said, these fires are getting far and few between. And to be honest, there are fewer fires in EVs than there are in ICE vehicles right now.
But even as we are talking about standards and how this kind of dents consumer confidence as well, Hormazd, consumers buy these expensive EVs and they go by the brand of the automaker. It's difficult to ascertain how many would take a closer look at the manufacturer of the batteries in their EVs. Do you think the ultimate responsibility is going to be with the EV automaker, or do you think it would the buck would stop with the battery manufacturer?
I think ultimately it lies with the EV automaker, because the EV automaker is selling the car to the consumer. The consumer has put a trust in the brand. They are not concerned with what goes under the skin or what the parts are. But again, separately, the EV, let's say, manufacturer themselves, I think in certain cases, test the batteries on their own. They have their own kind of testing, let's say, standards. So I think, there are a lot of checks and balances along the way. And I think, overall, one has to see that batteries are not defective, which can cause an internal short circuit, which can lead to overheating and then eventually fire. Or sometimes there could be external damage also, to the battery pack, like from a collision that can kind of, let's say, go beyond the protective casing and again lead to a short circuits or what we call thermal runaway. Sometimes excessive charging, beyond the battery's capacity can also be a problem. But again, I think that's been sorted right now. Then there's manufacturing defects, which again can be checked with proper testing of each and every individual cell, which is being done over here. So I think, then there's high temperatures, which can, kind of, let's say, amplify the conditions for thermal runaway. But then there are cooling systems which can take care of that. So, everything, there's a challenge, but there is a solution and a standard for it.
Well, at this point in time, one can safely say that this is a huge challenge because at one level, those standards need to be kind of raised, and confidence of potential consumers, when we're talking about growth in the electric mobility segment in India, that is something that we need to watch. Hormazd, such a pleasure getting in your perspective as ever. Thanks for joining us on Business at 9 here on ET.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.